Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff. In today's video, we're going to do an overview of white toner printing. So if you are annoyed by the limitations of sublimation, or you're a little freaked out about the maintenance and safety issues of DTF, then white toner printing might be for you. While white toner printing isn't for everyone, it is very versatile and it requires virtually no maintenance. So if these things sound good to you, let's dive in and learn more about white toner printing. First, let's talk about the toner part of the white toner printer. So it is a laser printer using toner instead of an inkjet printer using ink. And because it's a powder, it doesn't dry up, which means that you don't get those clogged print heads that you would get with an inkjet printer. A laser printer is generally also so much faster than an inkjet printer. So I was shocked at how quickly my white toner printer could actually create a print. I haven't sped up this video at all. It really is that fast. Next, let's talk about the white part of a white toner printer. So most printers print in CMYK, cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. A white toner printer, or at least the white toner printer I have, prints in 4 colors: cyan, magenta, yellow, and white. That white toner is where the magic happens. It basically can be a blocker so that you can put it on all sorts of dark substrates. So dark t-shirts, dark mugs, all of those sorts of things. Because it has that actual white toner in there, you can use it on basically any color. And not only can you print that white on dark colors, it also makes other colors basically pop off of those dark colors. If you're a sublimation crafter wondering how you can print white, this is one of the ways. So it's not sublimation, but like DTF, it does give you the ability to print that white to use on dark substrates. Now, if you have researched a white toner printer, you're probably a little bit overwhelmed with the number and type of different films and papers that can work with it. I feel like I had a pretty good idea of how a white toner printer worked, but when I went to look at all of the different films and papers, I was completely overwhelmed. Thankfully, you can start out pretty easy. So in the video that I'm going to be doing on my Creo coming up, I'll be talking a little bit more specifically about what I'm using, but basically, there's a process. You have your film where you are printing your image, and we're going to call that the A sheet. And then separately, you have a B sheet, which has the adhesive on it, and you're going to marry those two together. Once you have your print, you're going to put that B sheet on top, and you're going to put it in your heat press. And basically, the heat press is going to attach the adhesive to the back of your print. Then you'll peel back the backing of that adhesive, and the adhesive will stay on your print so that you can use it on a variety of projects. That is a very basic overview. I will be going into way more detail in an upcoming video when I teach you how to use my Creo printer. Completed transfers will run you about $2 to $3 per print, depending on what you're printing, but that is still significantly cheaper than buying from a reseller. And like I said, there are so many options. There's film for hard surfaces, soft surfaces, tattoo paper, stretch. I mean, there are just a lot of options when it comes to white toner printing. So because there are so many and because I think they can be confusing, I think in a future video, I'm going to go over a bunch of different options so that you can make the right choice when you want to make a certain project. Note that most of these films are cool peel, so you're going to be peeling them back from your substrate when they are cool. If you're used to working with something that is warm peel, just something to keep in mind that you are going to have to wait for that image to cool before you peel it back. So all of this begs the question, what can you make with a white toner printer? And when I say so many things, I mean so many things. With sublimation, you're sort of limited to a light or white substrate, and you're limited to a polyester or polycoated blank. With DTF, you're limited to sort of soft textiles. But with white toner printing, you can do so much more. So you can make all sorts of garments and other soft textiles. You can make hard blanks like mugs, tumblers, those sorts of things. You can even put this stuff on mylar balloons. Again, you can make temporary tattoos. You can make stickers, wood signs, can koozies. I mean, there is just so much that you can do with this printer that I feel like the sky is basically the limit on what you can create. If you're tired of the maintenance of a sublimation printer or a DTF printer, you're going to love a white toner printer. Basically, you can unplug this thing for a year, plug it back in, and you'll get perfect prints. And that's because that toner doesn't dry out. It's already dry. So it's not going to dry out and clog your print heads. You're basically going to get a perfect print every time. So while maintenance is not an issue, software might be. So the big thing here is that you do need a PC. And as a Mac girl, I mean, I've been using a Mac almost exclusively for at least 10 years. You do need a PC to run the RIP software for a white toner printer. And so I had to go out a few weeks ago and buy myself a PC. I went to a bunch of local places and ended up finding an open box returned laptop from Best Buy for like $300. It works perfectly fine. You don't need anything super fancy. You're just running the software, but it is an extra expense that you'll have to think about if you are a Mac user. The software itself is pretty easy to use. I will be going over how to use it in my next video, so don't really worry about the tech part of it. I think you'll be okay, but do know that you do need a PC. Then there's safety. So I recently did a video on whether or not DTF printing was safe, and there are a bunch of safety issues that come out when you're talking about DTF. White toner printing has very few safety issues, which is another thing that made me really excited to try it. Basically, you're just printing a laser print, and there's not much that goes into that. You do heat that up, and for any project like that, whether it's sublimation or if you're pressing a DTF print, I think you should just have good ventilation in your craft space. Get that air moving, clean air coming in, bad air going out. Have a fan, have an air purifier. I don't think this is going to cause any huge problems with your health, but it's always good to just have a little bit of ventilation in your room so that you keep that clean air moving in. And then I've been asked, is there a big learning curve when it comes to white toner printing? And yes and no. I have to say that I was expecting it to be a little bit harder than it was. I watched a bunch of videos and I made some projects and they've all turned out really well. I haven't actually had that many problems. I was expecting more of a learning curve than there actually was. However, if this is just completely new to you and you don't really know what you're doing, you do want to build in some time to actually learn what you're doing. Give yourself the permission to make some mistakes because I think we all make mistakes when it comes to certain types of crafting. But over time, I think it's just going to get easier and easier to go through the process of sort of marrying those sheets together and all of that. I just think it would get easier and easier and that learning curve would basically disappear. Now let's talk about cost, because that really, my friends, is where the rubber meets the road. Yes, you can make all sorts of amazing projects, far more than you can make with sublimation or DTF printing, and it is virtually maintenance free. But all of that comes at a cost. A big cost. The Creo printer I am using is an $8,000 printer. You can find it on sale at the time of making this video. You can get it from Heat Transfer Warehouse for about $6,800, which is quite a big discount. There are other printers that you can find that are a little bit cheaper. I don't have any experience with them, so I can't speak directly to them, but most of these companies also have financing available. And like I said, I know that this is not a printer for everyone. I know that so many of my viewers went out and converted a $200 Epson printer for sublimation. I'm not expecting you to go out and spend $8,000 on a printer. This is not for you. But if you have a small business and you're tired of the limitations of sublimation and DTF and you want to take another investment into your business, white toner printing might be the right choice. Let's summarize this video with the pros and cons. So, of course, some of the biggest pros with the white toner printer is the fact that you can make so many types of projects. All sorts of hard blanks, all sorts of soft blanks. Really, there is just so much that you can make with this printer. Another big benefit, of course, is that it can print white, which means that you can use it on a wide variety of colors. So if you want to print something like white ink onto black invitations, you can do that. I mean, there is just so much that you can do with this printer that you're not able to do with a printer that doesn't print white. It does sit on top of the fabric, which might be a con to some people. It doesn't embed into the fibers like sublimation, but overall it's very thin and it washes well. White toner printed garments should last 50 washes. I have done a wash test, which I'll be sharing in my next video, and it's holding up really, really well. Then, of course, there's no maintenance, one of absolutely the biggest pros in my book. It's relatively easy to use and it is safe. And of course, the biggest con here is that it's expensive and it's not for everybody. I also, if you're used to sublimation, you may not like that it sits on top of the garment instead of embedding with the fibers. And for some folks, there might be sort of a moderate learning curve depending on how good you are with technology. All right, so did I answer the question, what is white toner printing? Do I have you interested? If so, stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to specifically use my new Creo white toner printer. I've been making projects with it. I am in love. I'm really excited to share it with you. If you have any questions about white toner printing, please leave those down in the comments and I would be happy to answer them. Follow my channel for more white toner, sublimation, DTF, Cricut, laser, and I think that's all content. I'll see you next time.